Everyone. Today we're going to talk about narcissistic supply, and I'm also going to touch on why narcissists are referred to as energy vampires. So if you've heard that term, that's what it refers to, is the narcissistic personality style. So first of all, what is narcissistic supply? Well, narcissistic supply is actually this form of emotional payment or emotional exchange given by others to the narcissist in order to be in relationship with him or her. So narcissism at its heart is all about the narcissistic individual protecting themselves at the expense of others, even at the expense of those closest to them, like spouses or parents or children, siblings, or best friends even. This payment or exchange of supply is an unspoken, unconscious requirement to be in relationship with an emotionally immature or narcissistic individual. And this supply is necessary in such relationships because the narcissistic individual lacks trust in the goodness of humans. They lack trust in the goodness of themselves. They lack trust in the goodness of others, and they lack trust in the goodness of you. So it's important to remember that a narcissist isn't able to distinguish between the concept of I did something bad or I did something wrong and the concept of I am bad or I am wrong. So to the narcissistic individual, those are one and the same. And feeling bad or feeling wrong is too uncomfortable because that brings up those intense feelings of shame and guilt and humiliation, and it's too uncomfortable and too much for them to bear. So in an attempt to avoid their own feelings, they end up projecting those icky feelings onto everyone else around them. And then we are the ones who end up experiencing the guilt and the shame and all the humiliation and all of those horrible feelings because they project them onto us. So the only way that they can feel a sense of power, agency, or importance is through the narcissistic supply that they get from their interpersonal relationships. So they will groom certain individuals, like I said, usually someone close to them, like a spouse or a child or a best friend, or if it's a work situation, it might even be like a colleague or an administrative assistant, for example. So these individuals are groomed into being their source of supply. And it's not everybody in their life who becomes a source of supply. It's particular individuals, which can be crazy making for the individual who's the supply because nobody believes them when they tell them about it. So let's pause for a minute. I want to introduce myself. I'm Jennifer Whitaker, trauma specialist. Welcome to my channel. It's great to have you here. And if you're back, welcome back. It's great to have you back. Please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell on YouTube because my videos all interrelate and I would hate for you to miss something because I expand on this topic in other videos. So let's get back to narcissistic supply. Adults who present with narcissistic personality style or full-blown narcissistic personality disorder are highly likely to have experienced early childhood attachment trauma. So in other words, during the most critical developmental years of childhood, their parents or guardians insufficiently attuned to and attached with them. So over time, this leads to the development of self-protective survival skills. Such skills often include various forms of manipulation, coercive control, and sometimes even the development of pseudo or alternate personalities. Narcissists are, in essence, incredibly emotionally immature because an individual's emotional growth and development is stunted when the adults in our lives fail to attune to and attach with us in childhood. Narcissistic supply is like a drug for the narcissist. There is never enough to satiate them. No matter how much you give and how hard you try, it's impossible to give the narcissist enough supply to satisfy their insatiable need. So common forms of narcissistic supply. The most common form is attention. They want to be the center of attention. And this is why oftentimes out in public, you're going to see the narcissist be the charismatic life of the party. They've got that magnetic personality that everybody's drawn to. So too much charm is an alarm. Keep that in mind. They want praise, they want compliments, and almost to the point where they expect praise and compliments. And with an intimate partner, they might even demand adoration from you. And they have a need to feel powerful, to have power over others is how they get that sense of feeling powerful. And they like to have control over others and anyone and anything in their environment they like to control. And if you're in their environment, that could mean that you're being controlled. Another common form of narcissistic supply is through physical attention, like sex. Oftentimes, the narcissistic individual isn't able to separate sex from love. So that's another way to bolster their sense of self-worth and their ego and their self-esteem, is by having intense or sometimes many sexual relationships with a variety of different people. The narcissistic supply could also include emotional energy, whether it's positive or negative. So the positive emotional energy could be that the praises, the compliments, the adoration, but it also could include them being the source of chaos and drama and stress in everybody's life. Because if they can stir up chaos for you, then that's in a sense controlling your life because you get wrapped up in their chaos. Narcissists love awards and accomplishments and personal successes and achievements, even if they have to get them by cheating or using unethical or immoral means. It doesn't matter, as long as they get the accomplishment and they can be acknowledged for their accomplishment, especially if they get that public acknowledgement. Oh my gosh, they love that. That really boosts their supply. Financial gain and status symbols. Status is another way of narcissistic supply for that individual to kind of boost themselves, their sense of self-worth, and their reputation. So narcissists are more likely to be attached to having a big home. And these are the individuals who might have the gold-plated toilet or the diamond-studded Mercedes. So expensive cars, 5-star dining, hotels, yachts, the best of everything. And another form of supply is being acquaintances with celebrities, public figures, or other high status individuals like politicians or CEOs or executive directors or members of a board of directors in different institutions or corporations. That's going to give them that ego boost. And that's another form of narcissistic supply. Wearing designer labels, expensive jewelry, expensive accessories, expensive toys, like the boats and the ATVs and the big expensive RVs or the yacht, the fanciest toys that you can imagine are what the narcissist will use to bolster themselves. They love to fall under the category of winning. Narcissists often use alcohol, drugs, and other addictive substances, not totally across the board. And you also might find that a narcissist is addicted to behaviors such as gambling, shopping, pornography, or working out, for example. There are a whole host of behaviors that can fall under addictive behaviors. Sex is another one that could be an addictive behavior. Like I said, they like to provoke arguments and to get that emotional reaction, because if they're the source of chaos, then they're manipulating you and dragging you into their drama. They love to get attention on social media or in the news. And I think we've all seen that influencer or two out there who is falsely saying that they're doing something or traveling somewhere, and they're just using their post to manipulate their audience. That falls a little bit under this personality style. They love to be admired by romantic partners, and they even expect that adoration and that admiration and high praise. And they also are more likely to get their narcissistic supply by having the trophy wife or the influential or successful spouse. So sometimes the spouse is the status symbol, and they love expressions of gratitude. So they might come across as, being philanthropic or generous to get the expressions of gratitude and that bolstering of that really lifts them up. So those are all various forms of narcissistic supply. Feel free to comment below if I missed anything, because I know this is not an all-inclusive list. So if you've experienced narcissistic supply that I didn't mention, please let me know. And this narcissistic supply is why narcissistic personalities are colloquially referred to as energy vampires, because the supply is one directional. You're not going to get the same in return from them. The victim provides a continuous stream of emotional energy, which, like I said, the narcissist uses to bolster their own self-concept. And at the heart of the issue is that the narcissist isn't able to experience a sense of self-worth and to bolster their self-worth on their own. So the supply from their victims is how they maintain that false or faux sense of self-worth. So good characterizations are vampires, because a vampire will drain a person's energy over time by sucking their blood. And our blood is part of our life force energy. And if you think about the depictions in the movies, the vampires go for the throat. So when they go for the throat, this is to shut you up and shut you down, metaphorically speaking. And another good depiction of this personality style in the movies are the Dementors in Harry Potter. The Dementors consume human happiness by sucking your soul out of your body. And in the Harry Potter series, this was a fate worse than death. And that's why the Dementors were tasked with being the guards of Azkaban. So if you're an individual who is or who has in the past been providing supply for the narcissist in your life, then what that might look like, or what you might have experienced, is the narcissist in your life doing just whatever he or she wants with little or no concern for your thoughts or your feelings. There's no meeting in the middle. There's no compromise. There's no concern for how you feel about it. But you don't get to do the same, because if you step out and do something on your own, whatever the heck you want, there's going to be payback for it. So you might have experienced a loss of autonomy, a loss of your sense of self, a loss of identity, and perhaps you even had to create a pseudo or alternate identity in order to survive the situation you were in. So you might have been one person with the narcissist, and you might be another person entirely when you're not around that narcissist. And you might find yourself continually having to praise or compliment or admire or adore the narcissist, because you've probably discovered that any forms of criticism, feedback, setting boundaries, participating in self-care, doing things for you so you can meet your goals, that's probably going to backfire. You're going to get criticized. You might be verbally berated for it. It's just not going to end well if you start to focus on yourself and not the narcissist. You might find yourself feeling like an object and not a person. You might find yourself being compliant and obedient, which is not the same thing as being autonomous and independent and free to make your own choices and do whatever you want. So there's this sense of an emotional cage or emotional prison that we experience when we're in relationship with a narcissist. You might find yourself being controlled and having to make yourself controllable to survive the situation. And you might find yourself giving up your power and being disempowered inside yourself in order to survive situations with a narcissist. So I'm curious if you've been in a situation with a narcissist. Again, that's not an exclusive list of what you might experience. Please comment below and let me know what you experienced. What did I miss in my list? Because narcissists get their supply using tools and tactics that include various forms of manipulation, seduction, charisma. They're really great at making promises and making you feel so loved and bolstering your sense of who you are just enough so you can give it back to them and they can suck you dry again. They might be using tools like anger or bullying behaviors. So if you've been in such a situation, please comment below and let me know what your experience was like. All right, everyone, I'm Jennifer Whitaker. I hope you have found this helpful. If you know somebody who could benefit from this, please like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you next time. Happy self-discovery.